The Accra-Kumasi Expressway remains the flagship under the Big Push program. It involves the construction of 176-kilometer, 6-lane bi-directional expressway linking Ghana's two largest commercial cities. When completed, Mr. Speaker, the expressway will reduce travel time between Accra and Kumasi to about 2 hours. Improved road safety, ease congestion, lower transport costs, and feature modern interchanges, bridges, intelligent transport system, electronic tolling, emergency response facilities, and rest spots. Mr. Speaker, Ghana government has made substantial progress in the project preparation. As of 22nd July 2026, yesterday, the Ghana Armed Forces have cleared 122 kilometers, representing about 70% of the 120-meter wide right-of-way in just 12 weeks. Mr. Speaker, the entire corridor is expected to be cleared by the first week of September 2026. Right, Honorable Speaker, compensation assessment, environmental studies, engineering design, feasibility works are progressing simultaneously. The feasibility study and detailed engineering design are expected to be completed by end of August 2026, next month. Mr. Speaker, with procurement for the main construction contract to commence in September 2026. Mr. Speaker, as of 2nd of July 2026, 1.7 billion United States dollars have been deposited into a dedicated Accra-Kumasi Expressway account at the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, for emphasis, as at yesterday, 22nd of July 2026, the government of Ghana has deposited 1.7 billion United States dollars into an account, a dedicated account at the Bank of Ghana solely for this project. The funds have been ring-fenced and will be used only after the main construction contract is awarded. I can share it. Mr. Speaker, government is therefore confident that all the requirements for this transformational project, including the...
There you heard the Finance Minister, Honorable Kasiel Ato Forsen, on the floor of Parliament yesterday, highlighting key points in the 2026 media budget. And of course, it's our responsibility this morning to delve deeper into some of the things that he mentioned, right? And we take a look at it. If indeed the corner is being turned around, or if indeed the economy is on a rebound state, we take a look at all of that right here on the Dialogue. Good morning and welcome to your favorite current affairs program, The Dialogue, with me, Randy Ahadzi. Remember, The Dialogue comes your way every Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. We repeat on Saturdays and also Sundays at 11 p.m. As I intimated this morning, our major focus is on discussing what we witnessed yesterday in Parliament, the 2026 media budget review. My guests are already seated, waiting for us to delve into the main issues this morning. I encourage you to join the conversation from all walks of life. If you're watching via any of our social media platforms, please feel free and drop your messages under any of the broadcasts, and I'll read them out loud and clear. Our text line is also active, 055-269-7939. Feel free to send us a text via that number, and of course I'll read them out loud and clear. Before I even introduce my guest, let me just share, elaborate more on a few pointers that we gathered yesterday. We counted no less than 481 key points the finance minister mentioned yesterday. But which ones do we delve into today? The butter and bread issues are more important to the ordinary Ghanaian out there. Whilst the other issues are also pertinent, we look at all of that right here on the Dialogue. First of all, let me just start with what he stated as far as inflation is concerned. The finance minister in yesterday's presentation mentioned that inflation declined from 23.8% in December 2024 to 5.4% at the end of 2025 and remained low at 5.7% in June 2026. Such a significant stride achievement chalked by the finance minister and to a large extent the government. But does that really translate into the pocket of the many Ghanaians? When you go to the market, does that reflect once you're buying? We look at that right here on the show. What else did the minister mention yesterday? He spoke about fiscal performance and he said fiscal performance has also exceeded expectations. The primary balance on commitment basis recorded a surplus of 2.5% of GDP in 2025. That was captured in yesterday's presentation. Now let's look at, some other policy reviews as he mentioned. By end June 2026, we had achieved a primary surplus of 0.9% of GDP on a commitment basis. We are firmly on track to achieve our end year target of 1.5% of GDP. How feasible is that? My guest, of course, will delve into that. Remember, there was an issue of government not necessarily spending as they ought to have done. The minister clarified that as well. But again, on other issues, he says, Mr. Speaker, prudent fiscal management has also translated into a rapid decline in public debt. The debt to GDP ratio fell from 61.8% at the end of 2024 to 44.7% at the end of 2025 and reached 45.0% by the end of June 2026. What else did we capture? He says that Ghana has therefore already achieved its statutory debt target of 45% of GDP years ahead of both the IMF program timetable and the target date established under the Public Financial Management Act. It simply tells that we have even done much better than the time frame that has been given. Let's talk about debt, right? Let me illustrate to you what he mentioned as far as debt is concerned. The minister said debt service is also consuming a far smaller share of government revenue, and it was captured in yesterday's presentation. Again, he says that debt service as a share of domestic revenue declined sharply from 55.7% in 2022 to 28.8% in 2025, freeing up billions of cedis for schools, hospitals, roads, and other national priorities. Let me just bring two more before we even come to our guest. It says that the 91-day Treasury bill rates a benchmark for the cost of short-term borrowing in Ghana, declined from 11.09% in December 2025 to 5.73% in June 2026, representing 536 basis points reduction. But of course, one will also say that these are economic jargons. To the layman out there, the young man out on the streets of Accra hustling for bread and butter, what does this really mean? That is what we want to discuss right here on The Dialogue. Stay with me. After the break, I'll introduce my guest and we can have a great conversation right here.
Embarrassed. Too embarrassed to speak to a loved one. Too embarrassed to speak to your doctor.
Too embarrassed. When in our lifetime, 1 in 4 black men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. 1 in 12 black men will die from prostate cancer.
Let me repeat that. 1 in 4 black men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. 1 in 12 black men will die from prostate cancer disease.
1 in 12. That could be your dad, even your older brother, uncle, or grandfather.
You need to make sure they are not embarrassed to speak to you or their doctor about it.
Hey, Dad, have you had your prostate checked out? See? How hard is that? It's easy. Just start the conversation.
Prostate cancer is survivable if caught and treated early enough.
Don't let embarrassment stop you having this important conversation.
You may save someone's life.
Not just your own.
we can be the generation that ends it for good.
Malaria must die, so millions can live.
Your flight is ready to leave.
Sit back and relax and enjoy the flight.
All right, so many thanks for still staying with us right here on WoezorTV. This is the Dialogue, your favorite current affairs program. And as I intimated, our focus this morning is on the 2026 media budget that was presented yesterday by the Finance Minister, Honorable Kasiel Ato-Forson. Well, the minority raised series of objections. They described the media budget, review as koshoko, and they say it's actually empty. What does that really mean? And of course, I also enumerated quite a number of key highlights we gathered from yesterday's presentation. And to a layman out there, I said it, the street boy hustling this morning for butter and bread. To a large extent, how does he benefit from this? The businessman in Medina Market this morning, does this really translate into the pockets of such people? In studio with me, to my immediate left, is Kamaldeen Ibrahim. He is a member of the New Patriotic Party. Kamal, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too.
How has your week been?
Great. It's been campaign activities. So.
Okay. Oh, your internal elections?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We've not done ours. Yes, it's been postponed.
Oh, okay.
So we are still on it. But first and foremost, let me greet your viewers and then the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Ahadzi Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And as well, my boss, Honorable Titus Glover, who is contesting for the national organizer position of the New Patriotic Party. Very soon, in fact, very, very soon, hopefully, God willing, on Monday, we'll be hitting the campaign rounds. We are starting with Greater Accra. So therefore, want to use your medium to draw the attention of the various constituencies within Greater Accra that the Titus Glover campaign, which is, when we say Titus Glover, we say Femodin campaign, will start, God willing, on Monday, start Greater Accra, and then once we are done with Greater Accra, I think our voter region will be our next stop. So we'll keep updating the various regions as we move along. So that's, and then the constituency too, I'm going for constituency organizer position.
Okay.
Amasama constituency.
Okay.
I'm moving from the Nasara organizer position to the constituency organizer, because in opposition, what the NDC government is doing, you need proper mobilization of the grassroots of our members to make sure that we annex power from the government, because so far, even their own people have started, if I may put it, harshly of money. Let me put it harshly. They are wailing really in town. This budget meant nothing to them. As at this point, I was speaking to many of them. Many of the NDC guys told me they've not even listened to it, because the bottom line of any budget read is to dip your hand in your pocket and then feel the impact of that budget.
Okay. We'll delve into that pretty shortly. But next to him is Richard Suma. He is the Deputy General Secretary of the United Party. Can I say a breakaway from the New Patriotic Party? Am I right to say that?
Well, every child came out from the mother.
Okay.
So in that context, it's not a breakaway, but we came from them.
Okay.
Some come through incubators.
Rich, how are you doing? How has your week been?
Oh, very good. It's fine. We are managing. First time sharing WoezorTV's platform here.
Yeah.
So it's a privilege and honor to be here this morning.
We appreciate it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Your first time? First time, yes.
We appreciate
I
it. Yeah. But your other colleague, Solomon Owusu,
yes,
he has always been here.
Yeah. There was a time I was supposed to be here. He asked me to be here, but then I had an engagement, so I couldn't come. But ever since then, I've been making the effort to
Yes.
share this platform with you. Yes.
Grateful that you joined us this morning. And to the extreme end is Matthias Alagbo. He is incoming, right?
Yeah.
Incoming organizer.
Deputy
organizer. National of the NDC. Right.
He's also two aspiring
organizers. Two aspiring organizers on my table this morning.
One at constituency level, one at national
level. Yes, but he's also projecting his boss for the national level.
One day he'll go for national.
Yes.
Anyway, Kabila, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing? And how has your week been?
Randy, the Lord has been faithful, and it's a great pleasure always sharing the platform with you. The great jobs we are doing here. Yesterday, as the reason we are here was that yesterday the finance minister gave to the good people of this country through a presentation in Parliament the true account of the state of our nation as far as our finances are concerned. And when you look at all the things that he enumerated yesterday, there's only one person out there I just want to single out to celebrate this morning. That happens to be Honorable Kwame Govins Agboja.
Okay.
There's a facility of 300 million United States dollars that has been secured from the World Bank, more or less like to fix our feeder roads across the country. And the story, as the roads minister enumerated, was that as it pertains in the past, our brothers from the other side, this money will come and they will spend close to over 40% on so-called training, traveling abroad, buying vehicles, cross-country, blah, blah, blah. And he totally rejected it almost immediately and said he can only accept it if almost the entirety of the money will go directly into fixing our roads. And true and behold, about 98+% of that money is actually going to be sunk directly into the fixing of our feeder roads across this country. And I watched Honorable Kwame Govins Agboja travel across the length and breadth of this country. And if you decided to travel by road, you will see that the whole nation is now like a construction site. And the confidence with which he spoke the last time concerning a place that's very, very important to me, that is from Ho all the way to Aplau. And he stated emphatically that by a close of the year 2027, when you travel on that road, you will travel uninterruptedly on an asphalt overlay. And when you see what is happening, you can only say that God has been good to us, that President Mahama will identify such a personality to be at the hub of our road constructions at this point in time. And I just want to celebrate him for the great job he's doing. Of course, with what is happening in the Middle East, there are countries that are virtually rationing oil here and there. But here in Ghana, we are far from the war zone, yet the impact is felt across the globe. But there are personalities that are working around the clock to ensure that while they do the heavy lifting, the ordinary motorists can go to every corner of this country and be able to access fuel products without interruption. That is why it is important for me to celebrate my boss, Apache Awuno, who sits at Boss Energies, a strategic government agency responsible for ensuring that across every length and breadth of this country at all times, we do not only have a strategic storage, but there will be availability of fuel products. And I just want to celebrate him. And of course, Edujita Mekolo, who supervises the downstream petroleum sector, whose leadership and more or less is steering the affairs of the entire sector to ensure that Ghanaians don't have to wake up one day carrying gallons looking for fuel wherever they are. So I just want to celebrate them. And His Excellency the President, Ghana can only be gracious that at this point in time, we have a very selfless individual that is in a hurry to undo 8 years of decay, 8 years of degradation, 8 years of plunder, to ensure that not only do we overcome the hardships and then the setbacks, but we actually will come out of them and then grow as we are experiencing in every shape or form as far as our national life is concerned. So I just want to celebrate His Excellency also, and I'm glad to be here. And good morning to all our cherished viewers and those who are connected with us on social media and everywhere else.
Kabila has spent close to 5 minutes in his opening remarks. Anyway, let's see how he pans out.
His government in power. we pardon him.
But I'll start with you, Kamaldeen. Your initial reactions to the media budget presentation we saw
He's
yesterday.
in government. He should rather speak to it.
No, because
they run the budget, so he should be telling Ghanaians.
Well, I mean, we have enumerated and elaborated what we have seen yesterday. Your party or the minority, I mean, says it's a different thing. They see it from a different angle. They actually describe it as a Koshoko media budget presentation, and that's why I'm coming to you.
Well, no problem. I'll take it up. You see, excuse me, I'm here to speak the common man's language. And the common man's language is simply that this economy is, as I was coming, I was listening to the finance minister on City.
Okay.
And he himself said that the economy is solid. And I agree with him that the economy is solid. But the economy is solid on paper. Just as he read it, it is very solid. No qualms about that at all. There's this video I saw on Facebook yesterday where TV3 went around interviewing market women. To these market women, there's nothing the minister read yesterday that has translated. This is about a day or two video I'm speaking of. It is not translated in their lives, at their business centers. It's not translated. So it is very, very solid. Again, go to the various hinterlands or where farming activities thrive. No farmer will tell you, and I believe you may have seen the videos, that farm produce are not bought. To the extent that I remember one of their MPs, I think was it Ejura or someplace like that, had to even complain publicly that in his constituency, farm produce are left to rot because there are no monies made available. And if you remember, at a point, the president had to even direct the finance minister to make money available to mop up some of these things. And yet, the money was even inadequate that the clarion call of these farmers still on social media is as loud as you can imagine. This is the reality the ordinary Ghanaian farmer is facing out there. As we speak, unemployment is still rising under this government. In opposition, you told every Ghanaian youth that the key to solving unemployment is the 24-hour economy. As we speak, what has become of the 24-hour economy? When is the government going to start employing the other two badges? Because every sector, we have people there, and they say they are going to have 133. So we are assuming that there's already one. We are left to the two. Those working in the morning. We are waiting for when the government will start employing those who work in the afternoon and those who take over from the afternoon people to run to the next day, so that we'll see the 24 hours. Because now it's projected that if you take every two Ghanaian youths, one is unemployed. And it's estimated that unemployment is going to grow to about 2.4, 2.5 million thereabout under their watch. If you had implemented your 24-hour economy, in fact, almost 2 years down the line, you cannot even tell. He sits here. He cannot even tell us where they have gotten with the 24-hour economy. But that is their headache. So I'll leave it. You promised a Jumaura. What has become of the Jumaura? As for Akuko and Kitinkiti, it's like the Minister of Agriculture has basically announced it officially that people can rear their Akuko and Kitinkiti and eat them. Well, he's basically endorsed it, that eat some and sell some. There's no ready market, just as I talked about the farm produce. There's no ready market there because you've not created the avenue for ready market to be there. If piloting of Akuko and Kitinkiti could let Ghana waste over 200 million cedis, only God knows how much we are going to waste when it comes to the full implementation of Akuko and Kitinkiti. Again, National Apprenticeship Program. What has become of it? If you can tell us, National Apprenticeship Program. Look, as we sit, as for the Women's Bank, I don't think they can even show us the site. Whether it's going to be across the country, whether it's going to be in Greater Accra, if it is in Greater Accra, where the site is, whether they have started digging the foundation. Absolutely nothing. That's why I said that all the finance minister read to us is just something theoretical and very, very good. That one there, when it comes to how solid it is, I agree with him very well. But this morning, go out there and ask the teeming youth, whom you promised. Malik Basintele went to Bongo and told on campaign platform told the people of Bongo that we are going to give your MP 400 slots. Only one MP, 400 slots. Today, as we speak, you are struggling to even recruit people. It had to take even the intervention of the president to say you should make quota. Just about a week ago, the president went to voter regime and claimed that they have recruited 16,000 teachers. It had to take GES to come out to euphemistically tell the president that, Mr. President, you are peddling untruth because we've not recruited 16,000. They had to categorize them, projecting that by 2027 they would have accomplished the 16,000. We all understand it's the president. They wouldn't want to come straight at him to say, Mr. President, we've not recruited. The education minister told us that he wanted to recruit 50,000 teachers and 10,000 non-teaching staff, and the finance minister only gave him clearance of 7,000 to recruit. As we speak, 7,000. So how can an economy that is on a solid footing be struggling to recruit people? An economy that is solid on paper, or solid as the finance minister wants us to believe, and yet they are struggling to even make payment. There are people who have worked for years, and now the finance minister is struggling. As we speak, even those who are on promotion hardly even get 1 year payment. They are basically going back to what Tekwe started, the 3 months, where you work for 1 year or you are due for promotion. Instead of being paid 1 year, you are paid 3 months. Basically, recently the energy sector debt recovery. What? Look at the damning this thing the World Bank has given you. That is unsatisfactory. Your rate of recovery is unsatisfactory. So when it comes to coming to stand before the camera and want to play gymnastics and let Ghanaians feel like all is rosy, you are injecting a lot of money just to show off the city. Your 24-hour economic secretariat, what's the name? Who's in charge of Gositano said that he wants 4 billion to implement 24-hour economy. As we speak, he's not even gotten up to $500 million of the 4 billion he requires. How do you implement 24-hour economy? You're game changer. So me, when I sit here this morning, go out there with your cameras, go to Circle, go to any market you know here in Ghana, and go and ask them. Yesterday, the finance minister has read his mid-year budget. How impactful is it? Are you feeling it? Because as we speak, we are hoping that by November again, he will come and read the full budget. So how many months are we? Basically, we're in July, right? 9 months away. We are basically like 3 months away for him to read the main budget. And 2 years down the line, your key policies or programs you campaign with, by which Ghanaians voted for you, you've not been able to implement successfully even one that is full functioning. They can't tell me one. How then do you convince me? Maybe because I'm MPP member, they may say I'm doing propaganda. You can allow the ordinary Ghanaian to open your phone line. Let the ordinary Ghanaian speak, and you feel the impact of what they are going through in their daily lives. They sat on TV and told us that Sam George, that now is what's the name? Eating formula. Some people now eat in the morning, they can't eat in the afternoon and can't eat in the Some people are now even struggling to eat the whole day today, as we speak.
So you think they are playing 0-0-0? Basically,
so
he says 1-0-1.
Basically, you know, survival instinct will kick in. You will have to eat, but the quality of what you even eat has deteriorated under this government. Okay, everything the government is just doing. Look, as we speak, this Pelican AI also. Go and look at the way importers are crying. I saw another video on Facebook where these car dealers are saying that sometimes they sit for 8 months without making any proper sales. For 8 months, imagine you importing a car, but the minister is telling us that the Pelican, is it Pelican AI or something? The name, right? I've gotten it correct. It's raking, has given them over $300 million or so in revenue. What is it, the benefit of something raking in revenue for government? When the key stakeholders, one, claim they've not been consulted, two, are saying that thing is detriment to their business, yet you are making revenue. You remember the president in opposition was given a certain list by, I think, these freight forwarders or so. He stood before the camera and said, look at one import duty, plenty things to pay. Ask the president. Ever since he took over, the question one needs to ask, what has he done about it? Has he amended it? Do we have changed? They are still even complaining more than they complained before. And this is the lack of progress we are seeing under the reign of this president and administration.
Okay, let me bring in Richard quickly also. Richard, from where you sit, do you agree with what Kamaldeen has stated? And how will you even describe, what's your reactions to the media budget that was presented yesterday?
Well, first of all, let me use your noble platform to extend good morning to all your cherished viewers, to the entire leadership of the United Party, and to my co-panelists, yourself, and everybody watching us. As a matter of fact, what transpired yesterday is a statutory requirement of the Minister of Finance that every government, you present what we call a mid-year budget to look at your revenue lines and look at your expenditure line. Look at areas that you may think you want to improve upon it. Look at areas that you want to consolidate your gains. So whatever transpired yesterday, it is no news. It is in the right direction. And we expected everything that came. But you see, when you want to measure the performance of an economy, it is not always and constantly about somebody sitting in some village somewhere, whether he has eaten or not. That is not the determination for a good economy. Because even in civilized jurisdiction, even in America, there are still poor people who are hanging and hovering on the street begging for bread. But can't we say that America's economy is relatively stabilized? Can't we say America's economy is buoyant? Go to any part of the world, even UK, the advanced countries, poverty is still everywhere. So you cannot use poverty in certain jurisdiction as a measurement for whether your economy is performing well or not. It is neither here nor there. Because the poor will always be with you. Now, before NDC took office, Ghana actually have maintained my position over the years that we were actually on a self-destruction lane. We were on a high, fast lane to self-destruction. Why? Because we had an unbridled economy. The entire economy was very unbridled. Unbridled borrowing, unbridled expenditure, unbridled investment in areas that is not plying back anything. Now, in any civilized jurisdiction, before you borrow money, you must plow your money into where you know that it will generate income for you to pay back. Borrowing is not wrong. It is not a crime. Japan borrow, America borrow, every country borrow. The only country that we speak today don't borrow any money is Singapore. Apart from Singapore, everybody is borrowing left, right, front, center. So now, if you are talking about an economy, your economy has to be resilient. It has to be stabilized. It must engender growth and it must engender prosperity for all. But you see, prosperity for all, it will not fall like how manna fall on the wilderness. It is based on input, output. If you sit in your home and you are not making any conscious effort towards doing anything, how will prosperity come to your doorsteps? Are you getting my point? So even when government attempted to give you breeds for you, what do we call it? Chickens, chicken breed. What do we call them? Nkutong as they call them. Even if they give you, it's a way of distributing the wealth to you, so that you too can benefit from some nkukong kiti. Either you are producing it, aggregator is there who will collect all the fowls that have been developed into mature stage for dismemberment, where they will dismember into the leg, into the back, into the whatever. But if that is not the case, and we've given it to them to grow, at the tail end of it, what do you expect them to do with it? It's either they consume it domestically, or they sell it to generate some income. Or there is an aggregator who will say that in Bono region, we are giving 1 million birds out. After you have cultivated it, you have reared it, you got into a stage of growth, don't consume it at home. There is an aggregator. Go and supply it to the aggregator. The aggregator pays you. Then aggregator do what we call the slaughtering, the dismembering, and all those things, and supply it to the market. Anything other than that, we can't do anything. Now, when NDC took over, what are we noticing? We are noticing something that is as a result of the NPP's unbridled borrowing, unbridled expenditure, that rose to the stage that we couldn't pay our external debts. We couldn't pay our foreign investment, and we could not pay anybody. That's what necessitated the domestic debt exchange program. For which reason we claim that we cannot pay you unless we sit on a table and realign our books. And that brought about the DDEP, isn't it? Yeah. And it affected so many Ghanaians. But the DDEP has somehow, inherently, contributed to the stability that we are enjoying currently. Now,
and so in that same vein, we can't necessarily blame the former administration because they've done something good.
That's right. Who took us into that status in the first place? Who led us into the state where we need to do the DDEP?
Does that really matter now?
It matters. It matters. It's input output. Okay. It is your input that generated your output, and it is the output that became the determinant for you to do what? Realign your books. Are you getting my point? Have we not been running Ghana's economy since 1992 when we started the Fourth Republic? Have we done domestic debt essay program before? Because we were still at a very manageable thresholds until it got beyond a certain state that we couldn't manage it anymore, but we need to sit back and realign the books. So the point is that if you are talking about a stabilized economy, it's basically about how is your cedi performing against other global currencies. Relatively, it has been stabilized ever since they took office. Because it is not out of magic that it is relatively stabilized, because it has not gone beyond 13 before. It's hovering between 11, 12. As at now, it's still, if I had dollar yesterday, I wanted to change it to cedi, I got it for 11.8. Hitherto, I would have sold that dollar for about 15 or 16 cedis to $1. I got my point. So relatively, it has been stabilized for us to be able to do projections and do planning. Now, is your economy resilient? Yes, of course. You are having a resilient economy now. Look at all that is happening within your jurisdiction. Out of your jurisdiction, what is happening between US, Iran, what is happening in Russia, Ukraine, what is happening globally. As of now, we have only 3 major logistics routes globally. The Black Sea, the Strait of Hormuz, and another one. As we speak today, the Strait of Hormuz is virtually a no-go area. The Black Sea is also facing problems because that is where the Ukraine-Russia territory is also. Are you getting my point? So, economic activities globally is being affected by this thing. But has Ghana's economy escalated out of control? No. It hasn't escalated out of control. We are still within a manageable threshold. Are you with me? My only observation I have, the budget is not entirely without any form of prejudice. Are you with me? Now, what I see in that budget is that we need to have a situation where Ghana's economy can be driven strictly based on what? Export. We are not doing much about export. As at 2024, our import bill alone was $15.7 billion. Now, fast forward, in 2025, our import bill has risen to $17.5 billion. So I would have thought that maybe NDC coming to government, they would have been aggressively working at if our import bill as of 2022 or 2024 was 15.7, by now they should have been telling us that import bill is reducing to somewhere around $13 billion. Then we would have not doing more. We shouldn't be doing more, because if your economy is really doing well, that's really well, okay, in terms of how you are using domestic policies, homegrown policies, engendering growth within your domestic market, where you are building local enterprises, supporting enterprises, diversifying your economy, having an enterprise economy, and ensuring that we are producing more to export more to augment our import. Then we would have been talking about the fact that in 2025 our import bill is reducing, not increasing. Now, another good aspect of it is that we were told, as at that before NDC came to power, lending rate was around 29% from the banks to the borrower. Now, as we speak today, lending rate has dropped. Lending rate has dropped from about 20 something percent to about 16%, 16.33%. Now, the Bank of Ghana policy rate has also dropped to 14%. Now, ask yourself, which area of people are benefiting from the lending? It is those who are in the mining and quarry, those who are into real estate, those who are into services. Now, those who are into the agriculture ecosystem, which is supposed to be the base of your growth, which is supposed to be the engine of your growth, which will metamorphose the country into becoming an industrial nation, you are not engendering confidence in your agriculture sector. You are not doing so. If you look at the budget, look at the last time there was a whole debate from the Minister of Agri and then the Minister of Finance as to what they were expecting and what they didn't get, and what the Minister also said they have disbursed to them. So that means that the Feed Ghana project that they launched when they took over, what has the Feed Ghana project really contributed to? What has it really contributed to? Are you with me? Yeah. It has not brought the needed prosperity for all. Are you with me? Then now we look at education. Now, government is talking about building some additional 150 secondary schools or 110 secondary schools. upgrading some secondary schools. Recently, there was a data that showed that you still have 10,000 schools under trees. Which aspect of the minister's budget spoke about how we are going to eradicate those schools under trees? How are you going to do it? Because it has never been captured in the budget. But don't forget that the formative year of every child or every economy is the footing you give to the children. So if you are not bothered about clearing those children who are studying under trees and studying and lying on their belly and sitting on the floor and studying, you have not prioritized that as an area that you need to inject more capital in. Now why are you telling me you want to build many secondary schools? So we are begging the minister, let us solve the foundation problem before we start talking about the roofing.
Okay.
Any question?
So land on that for me, then I bring in Kabila.
Okay.
All right, Kabila, you've listened to the two. I mean, Richard seemed to say, disagree a little bit with what Kamaldeen mentioned. That yes, what we see is just on paper, but it does not necessarily translate into the pockets of the many Ghanaians hustling this morning in the streets of Accra and other parts of the country. I mean, you are in government. Is that not the reality? Because if I used to buy this mug at 2 cedis back in 2024, 2023, I expect that a new government that promises to do something better for me when they come to power, and indeed inflation is gone into single digits, I mean, I should still have it around that same price or a bit less, not skyrocketing.
Thank you, Randy. I've listened to my brother from the MPP's talk. Apart from the fact that he's been very gentle in his remarks, the fact remains that truly he came from the MPP's tables where propaganda and misinformation, and the fact that they don't have the courtesy to admit when progress is being made. That's the most unfortunate aspect of our brothers. Nobody is saying today Ghana is rosy and our streets are flowing with milk and honey. What happened yesterday, the mid-year budget review, as the finance minister clearly stated with facts to the good people of Ghana, is that we are out of the woods. I mean, the trouble, the terrible situation in which we were from 8 years under the 8 years rule of Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, we are out of those places now, and the figures actually speak to that. He talks about, I mean, the economy not reflecting in the lives of the Ghanaian people. I stand to disagree because I always tell my young people that I meet every time that when you are not able to pinpoint anything directly that you can say that you have benefited from this administration, try to find solace in the collective benefits that has come. Okay, my brother talked about, oh, national apprenticeship program, nothing is happening. I'm the youth leader of the NDC in the Volta region. Even last year, I superintended over a program where we matriculated 2,700 young Voltarians, handed over to about 550 master craftsmen and women to learn trades of various kinds that they themselves find that they want to do. I know for a fact, though there was a little bit of delay, every month each of these apprentices receive a minimum of 300 Ghana cedis as a stipend to support them while they acquire critical knowledge to become productive citizens for this country. I superintend over programs where we handed over to most of these apprentices high quality industrial machines that will aid them to learn the trade that they want to learn, so that by the time they come out, they will be productive to this country. Are you getting me? That is the Volta region that I'm talking about. And because we are government, that shows absolute fidelity to the direct principles of state policy to ensure that there's equitable distribution of the wealth of this country to every aspect of our social lives. I am certain that the rest of of the 15 other regions of this country equally benefited from this. So when you want to debase the National Apprenticeship Program that nothing has happened in that direction, that is completely false. You want to talk about the 24-hour economy. See, one of the key promises that the NDC made in relation to the 24-hour economy is to stimulate industrial growth, to create the enabling environment, to provide the security that the enterprises need, so that they can, so that government can incentivize them to operate beyond the normal 8-hour operational limit that we are used to in this country. And I can tell you, Boss Energies, where I work at, part of our operations has moved to 24-hour operations. I know NPA has moved to about 48-hour operations in certain aspects of their operations. A similar thing is happening in most of the governmental agencies. Now you have a secretariat headed by a venerable, very experienced, and very industrious person like Honorable Guzitano. And last time I met this man at a program, and he was outlining the things they are about to do. And I know that because Rome is not built in a day, but in the fullness of time, when the heavy lifting being done by these people in the dark and in the quiet, not on television, Ghanaian people will feel what the 24-hour economy policy is all about.
But Kabila, the argument is that, I mean, that has been the bedrock of the NDCs coming into power.
Yes.
Because we know how unemployment ate a lot into us, especially the younger ones.
Yes.
So if the 24-hour, which was promised as the game changer, which will provide lots of jobs, I mean, almost 2 years into your administration,
bro,
we should see it across, not just few pockets of institutions, as you have mentioned. Boss, NPA. How about the others?
I was here in my preliminary comments. I spent a lot of time eulogizing Honorable Kwame Govins-Agboja about what he's doing. Bro, do you know the amount of job, direct and indirect, that has been created in the road sector alone since we came to office? Through the big push policy of government committing 64 billion Ghana cedis in 4 years to ensure that the major connecting point between our regions are done, first-class roads. This is creating hundreds and thousands of direct and indirect jobs for the Ghanaian youth, because it is not pensioners that work on this project. Are you getting me? So you cannot say that jobs are not being created. When we came into office and we inherited close to over 100,000 nurses that have finished school between 2021 and 2024, and then people refuse to post them using all kind of excuses. You do not expect that overnight the NDC will be able to absorb all these people to cure the unemployment problem. When your economy was in a junk status, we could not pay our international debt obligations. We have to move in and seize the savings of the poor pensioners, sending majority, some of them, to their early graves. As a responsible government, you have to spend time first and foremost to build confidence in the economy. You have to get yourself out of the ditch in which we were placed by the new patriotic party. Are you getting me? By the time you resolve this, and by the time that you come back to stability, and by the time that you begin to now incentivize and achieve growth, that is when the economy will be able to absorb as many people into employment as possible. So you don't expect that the quagmire of the problems you created in the 8 years, that some of you pretend and now choose to stay in detention facilities abroad instead of staying in your country. You don't expect that John Mahama has been is the most honest president this country has had. Are you getting me? So we have not borrowed a dime out of this country since we came into office, but we took time, and the Ghanaian people actually abide with the government to pay some price. Look, when you are building, go and ask very ordinary public servant, when you are building a home, that is the time of sacrifice. Your children cannot go to the restaurant to go and eat pizza, or eat banku at home, where you invest the little resources you have into cement and mortar. Over a period of time, they will rejoice to live in their own home. That is the period in which Ghana is right now. Are you getting me? So we cannot say that we are not creating jobs. And you talk about, oh, we promised a Women Development Bank and we have not delivered. We promised, but when we came and look at the magnitude of the problems you created, to spend hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis digging a hole at Rich that you are building the cathedral you didn't do. We need to cure that. We need to cure the economy. We need to cure the limping horse. That is the economy. To give it back life. And now that horse is able to carry us 400 million Ghana cedis has been allocated to establish the Women Development Bank. It may not have happened on day one of our administration, but we were given a 4-year mandate. The 4-year has not expired.
Done.
I said we have been given a 4-year mandate.
Agreed.
Within these 4 years, we have a nation to fix. We have things that are critical. You are talking about farmers complaining that their food products are not reaching the market.
So food glut.
Food glut. It is because there are no access roads to bring them in. That is why President Mahama is in a hurry with the big push to ensure that in 4 years we are sinking 64 billion Ghana cedi into big push. That is why, see, between here and Kumasi, you do not only waste productive hours of 6 hours on the travel, but we lose many Ghanaians on this road every day. 1.7 billion United States dollars is launched at the Bank of Ghana to ensure that the NDC's promise to build an expressway between Accra and Kumasi actually come to light. All these things create jobs. All these things incentivize and stimulate the economy because people sell food along the chain. Cement sellers actually have market. Iron rod producers have market. What have you? So I agree that 8 years of degradation of a country cannot be fixed in 1.5 years. 8 years of plunder cannot be fixed in 1.5 years. The monumental problems that are created for our country cannot be fixed in 1 year. But the good news is this: you have a commander-in-chief that shows absolute fidelity to the patriotic movement of this country to ensure that we build our country to achieve a true middle income status. That young people don't have to queue looking for visa to travel abroad, but they can pride in themselves that the government is working for them. The taxpayer can know that when you pay your tax money, it will not be used to purchase jets to bath in the air, but it will be deployed to build hospitals, schools. Why you have run against the wisdom of the Bible? That when you want to build, you need to sit down to take the quantity stock of the materials you need. You were not able to do so, and you declare free SHS policy. Today, we have people, this double track system is still in place. Then you have a commander-in-chief who said that I promise to cure this mischief and I must cure it. That is why $300 million is going to build not only new secondary schools, but to expand access in the existing ones, so that by the conclusion of this our term, the era of this double track in our secondary school system will come to naught. And to my brother who says that, oh, there are still schools under trees here and there, check the records. Systematically, through the GET Fund, the NDC is doing a lot to ensure that our future leaders, the young ones, whether they are in Accra or in my village in Ziopi or in Akachi, Dagbamate or Agbedrafo, they can find themselves in similar classrooms where the teachers will feel happy to come because we produce not only first class educational or classroom blocks, but the tools they need are provided. The curriculum they require are given, and also the welfare of the Ghanaian teacher is equally taken care of. This is a work in progress. This is the confidence Dr. Kasilato Fosen has given to the Ghanaian people yesterday. This is what he's saying, that we are back onto winning ways. We are back onto the path of development. We are out of the woods. You have a responsible regime that is ensuring that every pesewa of the taxpayers' money is accounted for to the latter. That is what we must celebrate.
Kabila, Richard raised a point on the imports and then the exports status of the country. I'll come back to you on that. But come out, the argument, I mean, I listen and I deduced from what Kabila is saying is that the economy is actually coming from somewhere. And we were described, or I mean, given the junk status. You can't take just a year or two to erase, quote unquote, the mess that we saw in the last 8 years. In just 2 years. Don't you agree? So it's a steady progress that we are seeing over the years. I mean, in the last 1.5 years or 2 that we are seeing under the NDC. Is that not a fair argument?
Well, let me remind Kabila that as of this morning, fuel prices are still high. Diesel is 17.41 and then petrol is at 14.36 as of this morning. So be mindful of that. Suddenly,
that's at the pump, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Suddenly, some of these things are happening because of what is happening at Strait of Hormuz, at the Black Water. Oh, suddenly. I thought we were told that Russia and Ukraine is 7,000 miles away. So it doesn't affect us. But suddenly, Israel, Russia, Iran, America impacts the economy. This is the double standard, right? You see, when you say it, yeah, it sounds funny because the president himself, when he said it sounded funny.
I'll explain. It's not double standard at all.
I understand why you chuckle because it sounds funny because the president made us to believe that Russia, Ukraine had no impact because it's 7,000 miles away from us. So there's no way we should narrow our challenges we are facing. If Strait of Hormuz that produces or what's the name? The passage 20% of world's oil passes there, can impact us. But 30% Russia that produces 30% of the world's oil, that is sanctioned, cannot affect us. But who even tells you? According to experts, would it be the oil Ghana imports doesn't come from Strait of Hormuz? So how is it impacting you? Logically, you don't use that as justification. So please, and again, within 3 months, our public debt has increased by 47 billion. Are you aware of that? Are you aware? So these are the realities that you have to come on set and say. You see, as we normally say in the local parlance, you go explain tire. That is what you are faced with. Randy, the truth of the matter is simply this. My brother sat here and said we've seen some what's the name? Inflation downwards, interest rate, and those stuff. Yes, if your an interest rate and the rest are going downwards, and then you introduce sterilization, where people now go to the banks and they cannot access loans. What's the use of it? Because you are mopping up the cities by your own self. So instead of the business people going into the banking sector to have cheap loans or easy access to loans, they are unable to have it. So what have you gotten out of it? It was one of the questions the minister was asked this morning, and he was unable to answer it. You see, to all this, it boils down to jobs. And you see, in 2026, the budget the finance minister read, this is city. 2026 budget, government to create 800,000 jobs. This is it. 800,000. We are 7 months into the year. Can he tell us as NDC how many jobs have they created so far out of this 800,000? The year is not completed, so I wouldn't expect him to tell me that they've created the 800,000 has been. But at least we should be over halfway through the 800,000. You cannot account for this, and yet you are going to read your 2027 budget come November. So this is the falsehood or the false hope you've given the Ghanaian youth, and you are unable to fulfill. How can you promise 800? Look, the same finance minister told us that there are going to be 3 new garment factories, and those factories alone are going to provide 20,000 jobs. The year is ending. What are the 3 new garment factories? What are the 20,000 jobs? You see, budget is an estimation of what government hopes to spend. It doesn't mean you can get the full actualization of the budget. We have to let Ghanaians know. There are several times under the Rawlings government, Bole Bamboy used to feature in the budgets. Till he left, it took Kufuor to come and fix the Bole Bamboy road, where President Mama was then MP. It took Kufuor to fix the Bole Bamboy. It was very dusty, very bad. Yet it used to feature. So it should tell you, this Green Book road around the Eastern Corridor, they captured it in its first term. It was only captured in your Green Book as completed. So don't be excited that the finance minister has said is going to do ABC. Look, one of the things I've been following keenly has to do with their national policy on integrated oil palm development. They term it, or the target, as the red gold in their manifesto. You estimated that the finance minister, no, in the budget, sorry, in the manifesto, they said that the oil palm sector alone generates $70 billion, and therefore the NDC government would like to venture into that area to make sure they rake in those revenues. Because when you look at the Malaysian model, where it's used for ice cream, lipstick, and the like, to almost 2 years down the line, show me where you have started implementing the oil palm with farmers. Show me where. But it features you, for you to say something is red gold, and we know the importance of gold to the extent that you've even created gold board. It tells you anything you add gold to it, indirectly you want people to understand the value or the premium you are placing on that thing. What has become voter region? Do you have a site you've started the oil palm plantation stuff? Do you have? But at least that's an area with vast land. Unlike Accra, I wouldn't use Accra because perhaps Accra is already developed. We may have difficult with land. That is the reality in your. You see, when you come on set, be truthful to the youth out there. You say you are a youth leader, and you know this Ejumawura and the like. You promise them 10,000 jobs. You are here mentioning meager figures to justify what you've done. The 1 million coders. How many have you recruited so far with the 1 million coders? You cannot even account for 200,000. Yet you are halfway through the 4-year term they've given President Mama. These are the realities people are faced with. If a budget is doing well, Randy, and at the end of it, I go to the market, my purchasing power is low. What's the essence of the budget? If at the end I'm a worker, I work and I'm unable to be paid, the government is unable to pay me my due amount, as in not salary reduction, but maybe where there are increases or there's negotiation. In fact, quite recently, the vice president even told us that we shouldn't expect any salary increase. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't expect it. So at least till this year ends, till you read your next budget, there's not going to be any labor union wherever negotiating with government. We will not see any increase. This is the solid economy you are here touting, my brother. And the reality on the ground, your youth, you live here. The youth will go and tell you, Master, when you come on set, be truthful. Because we are feeling the pinch. I know your NDC people today, when you even ask them to come and communicate, they are running away. They are in government. They say they are calling your big men, they are not picking. Tell them to pick. If the economy is strong, they should be able to sort boys out. That is the reality. For me, as an opposition member, just as you said, you want to tag me as an opposition MPP member so that whatever I say, no. Opposition, don't have, when I was coming, I bought diesel. And when I went, I bought it at 17 at Shell. At what rate was it left? When Nanado was leaving, it was at 14. You criticize him. The economy, you said the economy is that bad. You see, you even made mention of the nurses we left to recruitment 2023. Please, when you are coming there, do some calculation of 2023. They completed in 2024. They did their national service. We were not there. The 2024, 2025, I've completed their service. You know they do 1 year service.
It doesn't take any time for the computer your range.
You know they do. But if an economy, as you claim, of 8 years cannot be fixed that easily, Randy, these were people who within a month or two were saying Ato is forcing. When they took over and they started injecting dollars into the system to kind of stabilize the city, they started ranting. Ato is forcing. You've forgotten that within 1 month or 3 months you cannot do that.
So Kawa, you wrap up on that for me. So
all that I'm wrapping up. You see, this blame game, Ghanaians are wide awake. All that you said about Nanado's government is the worst. No problem. That's why the government was voted out. You claim to have the reset wand, the magic wand that you can fix everything. Stop making referrals. Reset is not referral unless you've amended the word reset in your manifesto, or now the NDC has gone for a meeting and they've amended the word reset. Then when you come and you are making referral, I'll agree with you.
Okay,
you can't take successes and claim to be yours, but when it is something you feel is negative, you say no, we should go back and apportion it to the previous government.
Richard, I think that that is how it's supposed to be. That yes, relatively go to the market, like he mentioned. Why buy diesel at 17 cedis when we say we have a resilient economy?
No. You see, I'm just glad my brother here is wearing white.
Like a Furiata.
No, just on the lighter note.
Like a Furiata.
Just on the lighter note.
Like a Furiata.
I'm happy you're also wearing a full
Like a Furiata.
Infrared curve.
If I go, this is completely typical.
Like a Furiata.
You see, it's a national conversation. It's beautiful when we share platforms like this. But you see, the argument has to be made that we talk about precedent. Law is all about precedent. Now, if MPP had not had the opportunity to govern before and they speak, we can take them and say perhaps they could have done something differently when given the mandate. Are you with me? As we UP, we have not been given them opportunity to govern before. So when we make statement, it could be said that perhaps when we are given the mandate, the narratives could be better. MPP has read plethora of budgets in this country before. Has that employed all the unemployed graduates in this country? Has that employed all the trained teachers in this country? Has that employed all the nurses in this country? Has that solved the unemployment problem? They have read budget for 8 consecutive years, straightforward. Are we still not seeing unemployment everywhere? Are we not still seeing poverty everywhere? The same thing they are crying about today, it existed when they were reading the so-called budgets. The Impuntum budget, Ahunto budget, Ahumbrasi budget, Fadibi budget. All the so-called budgets have been read with various beautiful names attached to it. Are we still not having poverty in this country? So let us speak to substance and break away from issue of politics. If not, so we will never make headway. I am asking a classical question that if you are talking about oil prices going up as a country, I remember when Nana Akufo-Addo was exiting government, they cut a sword for the petroleum hub in Zima or so. I would have wished to hear that in the budgets of NDC since they also came to power. Because you should know that as I know, the import of oil alone, you are importing over $58 million worth of fuel every year. Are you with me? The petroleum produce you consume, you are only refining about 20% of it locally. Every petroleum product you consume as a country is imported. So there are very heterogeneous factors that can come to play when you are not self-sufficient, you are not self-dependent as a country. And over the years, one knew very well that we would get to the stage where we need to produce our own oil. We need to refine our own oil. Because every economy is driven virtually on what? On fuel. Like all of us came here today, we came through it one way or the other, various form of mobility. Are you with me? So we needed to build our own capacity. But have we built capacity that at least in Ghana for the petroleum sector, we can say we've built internal capacity successively through all the government that have passed and the present government, that we've been able to reach a threshold or that crescendo where we can say that we refine about 70% of the oil we consume in this country or we use in this country? No. So I would have loved to see that even if we cannot succeed in every aspect of our economy, the one that we don't have absolute control over, such as oil, we should be able to put through various homegrown policies to enable us get to that stage where we can be confidently saying that when it comes to petroleum product, we produce it. Because now we have petrol that we are producing crude at Nzima and Co. Isn't that the case? Ask yourself, the crude that we are producing, what percentage of it are we refining in Ghana? This is where the conversation should be going. Now, I remembered when NPP also talk about the 1D, 1F, while they were proposing or mooting that 1D, 1F idea, we all thought that it was the state that was going to be at the forefront of establishing factories in almost every village or every this is say one district, one factory, isn't it? So we all thought that it was the NPP or it's a state-led project. But when the mandate was given to them, the narrative changed. They said, no. We didn't say we were going to build the factories ourselves. We are talking about private sector-led. Are you with me? Yeah. So now NDC also played the same trump card. Oh, we are coming to establish a 24-hour economy. We all thought that when they come to power, they are going to stimulate the market. They are going to create an environment whereby many businesses can operate 24 hours. or they can establish new factories. As they talk about the palm oil project, we could think that maybe the palm oil project could catalyst into what? Having palm plantations and having palm refinery factories. Are you with me? Those ones could employ people and let them do threshing. We were even thinking that maybe they may talk about going into the cassava starch ecosystem. Do you know the global demand for cassava starch alone, Ghana? If they put all our land together for us to grow cassava and process it into cassava starch and cassava byproduct, we cannot meet the world demand. Are you with me? When you talk about the garment industry, you know, NDC spoke about establishing 3 new factories under the garment and textile. If we had established that one and we say that we want it to operate 24 hours, I would have taken them seriously. If we say Commander Sugar Factory or all state-owned businesses or entities, we are going to tend them to produce 24 hours. For instance, cocoa processing board and all these other boards that we could do, cashew processing, cassava processing, palm plantation, rubber processing, all these things that we can do to build our manufacturing base, and we say we want to make it 24-hour economy. I would have thought that is the way forward. But they have also come today, they are giving a 24-hour market. Who goes to the market 2 a.m. to go and buy what? Would the government be producing buses, providing buses for people to go and buy 2 a.m.? Or are the ghosts going to buy in the market 2 a.m.? And funny enough, where they are building some of the so-called 24-hour market, it's in the bush. Who goes to the bush to go and buy tomatoes in the night?
But development will go all the way to the bush.
That is not a definition of a 24-hour economy.
Okay.
That is not it. A 24-hour economy can only emanate out of industrialization.
Okay.
Not having some market somewhere and expect that by divine providence, people will just go to the market and go and buy 24 hours.
Okay.
It's not even
Rich, thank you. We should be winding up.
Sure.
Kabila.
I have
yes.
time.
Oh yeah,
Kabila,
you have your time. Yes, so you have your time.
That is no, so you get more matters to talk about.
I want you to tackle what Richard mentioned, and I'm very key. I mean, I have an interest in that.
Yes.
The import substitution bit, because if we are heavily depending on always the import, of course we can't grow our economy. Should that not be the focus? That's why agriculture should be an essential sector to our economy.
Okay, so thank you. But let me address the issue of fuel my brother talked about.
Okay.
You see, when it comes to the issue of double standard you talk about, then they say we are clean. When we stated that your misgovernance, your culture of pervasive plunder of state resources cannot be blamed on Russia, Ukraine, and cannot be blamed on COVID, we stand on that very firmly and we are justified. When the NDC took the reins of this government, fuel prices reduced from 17, 18 Ghana cedis that it was to a single digit, to the point that private downstream operators like Star Oil was selling fuel at 9 Ghana cedis. That is a fact. At that time that we were able to reduce the price of fuel, Russia-Ukraine war actually escalated to one of these terrible moments in the 4-5 year space of this war. And I want to remind you that as we speak, the war has reached its most deadly state, where Ukraine is hitting Russia's energy resources as much as Russia is hitting Ukraine's energy and military industrial enterprises. So the war remains. Now, why has the price of fuel moved back from the gains we've made to the current trends and holes in which we are? You are trying to downplay the importance of the Strait of Hormuz to the price stability mechanism of the international marketing system of oil products. See, 30% of oil product passes through the Strait of Hormuz.
20%. Not 30, 20.
Bro, my brother reminded you that the Black Sea and then the Caspian Sea, where oil products actually passes through to the Americas, to Middle East, to many other places, all of those places are within the ranges of drone attacks daily. And Iran has blockaded the Strait of Hormuz. This has caused the price of fuel products skyrocketing in anywhere in the world. If you go to the US, we have friends in America who will tell you that the price of gasoline has doubled. You go to UK, households People are rationing how much power they can use to heat their homes, and people are struggling in even those developed countries because of what is happening, the geopolitical tensions happening in the Middle East, I mean with specific reference to Strait of Hormuz. So don't compare apples to oranges by trying to say that because we bastardize, we belittle, we tell you that you were telling a lie, that the cause, the excruciating pain you were putting us through could not be attributed to Russia-Ukraine. We stand justified with that because the Russia-Ukraine war is here. And let me tell you, if it was the MPP who is in power at this point in time, with the reckless manner in which we were managing the economy, I want to tell you that the cost of fuel, taking into account what is happening in the Strait of Hormuz, probably will be in the region of 30 Ghana cedis per litre today. As responsible government as we are, Bost Energies that utilizes the Bost margin to ensure the maintenance of pipelines that connect Tema through APD to Akosombo, where oil products are lifted through barges and on the Volta Lake to Buipe, carried by pipeline to Bolga with a booster station in Savalogo, have to take a hit. Government took away the critical resources that is necessary to maintain the security infrastructure that ensures that our petroleum supply across this country is sustained. They took a chunk of it away so that the Ghanaian, the motorist, the one who assesses this, can have some reprieve. If not, the fact that government take pragmatic steps to ensure that there's a certain level of reduction, we will not be talking about 70 Ghana cedis per litre for diesel. We'll be talking about 25, 30. And perhaps under MPP could be more. So I want you to get that fact very clear, that Russia-Ukraine has nothing to do with what you did to this country, because that war remains now in its worst state. The problem that has exacerbated the cost of fuel products today in this country, and for that matter, the world over, is what is happening, the geopolitical tension in the Middle East, and specific reference.
A minute?
No, wait.
No, let him land. Let me land. Yeah.
Now, see, when you have a very honest, you have a finance minister that goes to parliament to give a very honest, very candid, very pragmatic, and a very hopeful, account of the economy, and give the confidence to the Ghanaian people. Yes, I understand the desperation. The MPP want to come back to power. So, as good as it is, you don't admit to it. But what was the MPP's claim first? The MPP claim was that, Ato Forsen is depriving the economy, is not spending any money. The economy is starving. Then the man came to parliament to tell you that, look, with the resources that are available to us in the year 2026 alone, we spent close to 49 billion in paying salaries to Ghanaian workers, the public sector workers. It tells you that the debt that you have accrued from Kwame Nkrumah's day of independence to 2017 when he took office, our debt stock was 120 billion. You added 720 billion in 8 years with nothing to show for it. It tells you that we spent 21.5 billion in the debt payment for that period alone this year. That is money spent to ensure that the junk status you give to this economy, we can cure ourselves of it and build confidence in the eyes of the international public and even the local investors in this country. He tells you that the Eurobond loans that Keroforiata took and ran away to stay in America, we pay 700 million United States dollars this year in debt repayments alone. And that is expenditure in this country because you commit us to it and we have to honor it. You talk about domestic bonds, those you give the haircuts to, the pensioners that were crying, and we came and said that we will pay you. 10 billion Ghanaian cedis has been paid in this period of this year alone. How can you say that this government is not doing well? This is Assembly's Common Fund that you centralize when you are in power, that the likes of Cecilia Dapa and Co can divert, that they are using to build drains, and then to find them in their rooms. This year alone, 4.5 billion has been paid. This is just July. How can you say that this economy, this government is not doing well?
All right, Kabila, thank you.
What I want to say is that what I want to say is that government is spending, but we are spending in places that do not only take us out of the mess in which we are, but we are spending wisely. We are spending prudently. I can assure you that today I would love to drive in Mercedes-Benz, but I know that we must first have better roads before I can drive in a Mercedes-Benz that I don't have to be at the mechanic shop every other day.
Okay.
So government is spending very wisely. That will benefit the Ghanaian people. See, the young Ghanaian that gain access to public tertiary institution today, over 500 million Ghana cedis has been paid for their first year school fees under the no fee stress policy. The young disability student who gain access to a public tertiary institution today knows that from level 100 to 400, the government of the day under His Excellency the President will pay their school fees for free.
Okay.
Are you getting
Kabila,
me?
thank you.
So we are spending we are spending wisely to ensure that we cushion this economy and also to make sure the Ghanaian can have confidence that for once you can believe
Kabila,
in the government.
thank you. Rather unfortunately, we are out of time, but let's use the few minutes more. And I think the minority leader raised that point yesterday. It has to do with the former Ashanti regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party. The minority in parliament again insisted that Chairman Wontumi has been imprisoned as a scapegoat and all of that. They seem to disagree with that ruling. But before you come in, let me just read some of the messages that our viewers have sent so far. Jerry Apepu says, Kabila, the epitome of fine. Emmanuel Kofi Aye says, good morning to all cherished viewers of WoezorTV. Special greetings to you, Randy Ahadzi, and to all your distinguished panelists, especially Comrade Matthias Alagbo Kabila, our incoming Deputy National Organizer of the NDC. I salute you, Kabila, for your insightful discussions and thoughtful contributions on issues of national interest. Your commitment to informing and educating the public is truly commendable. Keep up the excellent work, and may God continue to bless you and strengthen you. I think I lost the last part. Humado Sichope says, Randy, okay, Humado, I think I'll come back and read your message. It's quite lengthy. Alex Ahadzi says, during NDP's time, how much was fuel prices? Ask him to show us the year of roads. Kabila, show us the Palugu Dam. Okay, I think he's referring to Kamau. Okay, you have to know where you come from before now. We don't operate 24-hour without good market and development happens, often in the bush. Example, Eugene, Achimota School. Lastly, Home Market was in the bush.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Let me bring in Kamau. Then Kamau, let's wrap up.
Yeah,
quickly. In 2 minutes, wrap up. Yeah. Tie in the Wontumi incident as well.
I'll tie in. Let me use a minute to my brother.
Remember, we don't have much time.
Yes, sir. My brother is not being factual.
I'm counting your time.
Before, please, you are eating into it. Before the war, Russian-Ukraine war, Brent crude was at $75 per barrel. When they invaded them, it jumped to $130 per barrel. As we speak today, when you check online, it is $92 per barrel. Yet we are buying diesel at 17 cedis. Do the comparison from 130, subtract 92 from 130 and see the difference. So when you come on set to say some of these things, do the comparison and see under Nanado how much we were buying a barrel and how much you were buying at the pump compared to with a so-called good economy and still what we are buying at $92 per barrel. Now you see, with Wontumi's issue, we still insist that Wontumi is a political prisoner. But you see the kind of ruling the judge gave. One is established that Wontumi has all the needed documentations. He's not into Galamsey. It's said that it is his land that he's giving to someone for reclamation and the person involved in small-scale mining with the Galamsey. And that's the reason why, for which he was convicted. You see, per this ruling, people are going to suffer the consequence in future. Fourth Estate published this story, July 2022, just about two days ago. NDC boys rack up 5 million Ghana cedi electricity debt at illegal mine despite anti-Galamsey tax for. Now listen, 9 months after the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources revoked the lease of a licensed mining company in the Prestia. Are we on it?
What's going on?
Take me off.
Your flight is ready to leave.
Sit back and relax and enjoy the flight.
All right, so sincerest apology for that technical glitch. Of course, this is the dialogue. We're actually at the tail end of the show as well. Kamaldeen was actually making some important points before we went off. Kamal?
Yeah. Randy, thank you. You're playing with semantics. We had Doomsaw here. We are back. So, just as I was saying, Woon to me is a political prisoner. And rightfully so. Why we say that? Per the ruling, what it means is that you might not be involved in small scale mine or galamsey, but you can still be held liable. Today, Fourth Estate, this is a story published by Fourth Estate, that is on 22nd July, just 2 days away, that 9 months after the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources revoked the lease of a licensed mining company in Prestia Huni Valley, the mine is now being fully operated by a group of illegal miners connected to the governing National Democratic Congress. So, per the ruling, these people are jail bound. They are jail bound. Because now, once you are involved in small scale mining, per the ruling, you are a jail bound person. And when we come, things like this, we are taking inventory of them. Because one thing will not suffer something someone has done. And the absurd way is that the layman's thinking is now, Randy, as we are sitting here, it's like if somebody bumps into this room and wheels a gun at us, or threatens us, or fires, per this ruling and my layman's understanding, the person who entered here unauthorized, fired gunshots here, can be used to testify against the station. Other than that, somebody who is involved in galamsey now goes to become a prosecution witness to testify against someone, and he walks free.
It's allowed in law.
Please. Then, if it is allowed in law, no problem. An armed robber who goes to steal, right? You, the person whose item has been stolen, you can be called to a court of law and be asked why you even allowed your door, or why you didn't use a fortified door, and maybe you used a wooden door and allowed the armed robber to have access into the room. So the armed robber should come and testify how easy it was for him to break into the door. And what kind of logic is this?
I think this is also a developing issue. Unfortunately, Kamal, we'll have to go. Richard, let me give you also 2 minutes so you wrap up on this for me. Yeah.
On the issue.
You can tie in everything.
Okay. The truth of the matter is that when they say Untumi is a political prisoner, I don't know that. Was he fighting for our independence or what? What was he really fighting for? Or we are in a military regime and he's trying to fight for us to go back to democracy? What is the political prisoner description they are giving to his incarceration and conviction? The guy was charged for criminal offenses. Even giving your right, per the amendment of the law, giving your right to a third-party person to do land reclamation, do you know that the person who is that third-party person needed to be an expert in land reclamation? Do you know he has to provide you certificate that he is into land reclamation? He needs to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that actually he is a licensed land reclamation person. Anything proving that? No. So already that is even a breach of the law. Are you with me? And for you to even give your concession to somebody to go and do a third-party work on your concession, the onus lies on you to ensure that whatever you mandate that person to do, go and do exactly so. Are you with me? And if today they have caught somebody on your concession and the law brings him in and they say, look, no, we want to incarcerate the big fish, we want to tie in the big fish, we want to look for the big fish, but you were caught on the land, you said he gave you the right, would you want to testify and prove to us what you know about it, or you want to be a defense witness, or you want to be prosecution witness. And the gentleman choose to be a prosecution witness. And even in other jurisdiction, it is allowed. If all of us are involved in the crime and they cannot find the real culprit, if they get me and they feel like I know about it, they can give me a good deal and say, look, you bring those who at least implicate them, bring them forward, and then we will give you a good deal. It is done in prosecution everywhere across the globe. Are you with me? So what transpired about Henry Okum coming in as a prosecution witness, it is not any mischief. It is not a travesty of justice. Who to me right to be heard was granted to him, isn't it? Who to me had the right to even go to appeal, isn't it? He even has the right to take his issue to even the Supreme Court if the Court of Appeal upholds the judgment of the High Court. So let us test the law. Are you with me? But then, if we really want to sanitize our society, then we must allow the law to work. If not so, we'll be creating the impression that the judiciary is not fit for purpose. If it sweet us, we say it is good. If it doesn't sweet us, we say the judiciary is bad. When we were having the unanimous FC, did they ever complain about the judiciary? Did they? But today, when it goes contrary to what they expect, they say the judiciary is biased, travesty of justice. Want to mean this, want to mean that. As we speak today, even a primary one child cannot be told that want to mean is a what? A political prisoner. A political prisoner is only person who fights for the independence of the country or is fighting for a democracy. Want to mean wasn't fighting for democracy, he was doing his own business.
All right.
So why I want to claim? And then the last point I want to make.
Okay.
Dr. Baumia put out a statement saying that somebody who has been arrested should be set free because he has not asked for prosecution. I want to ask, is that how you want to come and govern the country? Even his home and his children misbehave and they're insulting his grandparents and co. Wouldn't he discipline them?
This is a civil case, and he said he's not lodged a complaint.
No, he doesn't need to lodge a complaint. Dr. Baumia don't need to lodge a complaint.
He has told you that even when he was vice president,
he doesn't need.
Typical of the NDC, you've been insulting him.
The enforcement
arm, even raising this
the
issue
enforcement arm of the law
exposing the insulting nature of the NDC. That is what you are doing.
Oh, the enforcement arm of the government has to work.
Ministers today who called the then president Nana the thief in chief. That is behaving like over-pampered kid.
But he has arrested people.
So you're even magnifying
Nana Akufo-Addo arrested people.
Stop it.
What I'm trying to say is that Dr. Baumia shouldn't do that because he wants to govern the state and we cannot entertain indiscipline.
Civil cases, there must be a complainer. He says
no, in this case there must not be a complainer. No.
I filed myself and Obama. We have filed a petition to the IGP
in this case.
Mugabe has indicted the Ashanti Regional Police that they're supplying weapons to criminals to steal. They've not picked him up till now.
Okay.
There's a complainer. We have complained. Why are they not picking him up?
In this case, there must not be a complainant.
Thank you, gentlemen.
There must not be a complainant.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The state enforcing a law.
Kabila,
sir,
your last comment, and then we are done.
Okay, but I have to state clearly that under the current leadership of Inspector General of Police, IGP Ihonu, the police service is coming back to in line. They are much better than they were under your watch. They were much better than the police service. It's
indicted the whole police under him.
It's a public record that the police were involved. It was a public record that under your regime, police officers were involved in armed robbery. They were attacking people on the street.
Where these are individual behavioral things you are alluding to.
No, they were party thefts.
We need to go
on national television that
thank you, gentlemen.
Under IGP,
we need to go.
Under IGP, you know the police service is much professional now than it used to be. Now let me say this:
arresting people anyhow. No.
I could have been I could have been selfish to say that, well, let us continue the way they are devastating the environment so that when everything else can, you people come to voter region for tourism. Because we are the only region, our capital is called the Oxygen City, where you don't find any degradation of our environment and everything else. But you see, if you have a conscience and you care about our beloved country, and you have a plan to live in this country where generations after you will live here, you will not sit on radio to be applauding or more or less like join the chorus of those people who try to paint Wontemi's incarceration as a political prisoner, whatever. Wontemi is a clown.
Wait, Camila. Okay, that's too harsh.
When people respond,
we need to go.
I take a strong exception, right? He has to retract.
You
can't call a whole.
So you are wasting time. Let me do that. Let me do it. Hold on. Stop it.
Come on.
If I had said it,
hold on. I withdraw using that he's a clown.
Very well.
But one to me is not a political prisoner. One to me has been reckless.
Okay.
One to me has been part and parcel of the people who form part of the MPP regime that call themselves Party Here Sika.
Okay. We need to go. Humado Sichope, please kill their microphones.
What I'm trying to say is that
Humado Sichope says that the 2026 media budget review shows that government expenditure is 143.7 billion Ghana cedis, making claims that the government is not spending inconsistent with the budget. It also reveals significant debt obligations inherited under the DDEP, with 58 billion Ghana cedis due in 2027 and 53 billion Ghana cedis in 2028, about 111 billion in total, indicating that the program deferred a substantial portion of debt repayment rather than eliminating them. Parliament should focus on debating the budget's key issues: expenditure, revenue, debt management, and implementation, instead of diverting attention to unrelated matters. Finally, during the NPP administration, 187 illegal miners were convicted and jailed. Some NDC officials, including Mohammed Ibrahim, were equally jailed under NPP, yet those prosecutions were not called political persecution by the government. The law should be applied fairly and consistently, regardless of political affiliation. Humado Sichope from Guan constituency sent in that one. Sichope, thank you so much for your message. Folks, here we wrap up today's edition of The Dialogue. Kamaldeen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I wish you the very best. Is that Monday? I want to have your boss on my show.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll talk
I want him on a one-on-one conversation.
I'll talk to you.
So I'm putting it to you.
That's fine.
Right. Should I come and campaign for you?
I'm campaigning for you too.
I mean, it would be nice to see young people.
I'm campaigning for you to win the national deputy. Then these people kindly favor.
I'm a summer.
So that I can come and meet him.
Are you contesting with Ben?
No.
Okay.
He and the rest.
All right. So Kamaldeen is a member of the NPP and specifically from the
Benjamin
constituency. He is vying for the
Benjamin Asari.
Is it youth organizer or organizer?
No, the
constituency organizer. Amasaman constituency precisely. Richard Suma is a member and the deputy general secretary of the United Party. And Rich, I'm also putting it to you. I want to have your boss. Solo promise bringing your boss. Yes. So Alan, we are ready. We are
Alan, perhaps maybe you have to do a pre-recorded.
Yes, we are ready. We are ready for that. So I'm putting it to you live on
Alan.
Okay. Yes, we are putting it to you.
The man who plays contest
anyway.
No, he doesn't play contest.
If he decides to contest, Alan wins and he'll create another party. You create another.
Alan doesn't believe. Alan doesn't believe in hypocrisy. That is all.
Is the regional youth organizer of the NDC,
Nana promised Alan and disappointed.
Don't mind Nana
deputy organizer. Gentlemen, please. You guys have spoken a lot, so let me also wrap up. Please. Thank you. Well, viewers, here we draw curtains on today's edition of The Dialogue. A very big thanks to the team for helping put this one together. It's a weekend. Please stay safe, stay out of trouble. Let's meet again next week. My name is Randy Ahadzi. It's a wrap for now.
Shamak Israel Yehovah. Elahenu Yehovah Ekat. We ahata et Yehovah. Elohika bika luvika. Uvika navashika. Uvika miyopika. Tode yashach. Tode yashach. Tode yashach. In English, in the name of Jesus. Amen.